So today I want to talk about this ad right here about schooling and consequently vaping as well. It's been it blew up. It was all over the internet a little while ago, but now not so much. I haven't seen it a whole lot, but I just want to talk about it. I'm sick, but do it anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the juuling commercial specifically, just because it seemed to be the biggest one I saw, and the most prevalent one. So we're gonna be covering that one. Like I said, it's gonna be right here. I'll play it, a little bit of it for you to see right there, and we'll talk about it.
I've been vaping, but it's safer than smoking.
You know, one Juul pod contains as much nicotine as 20 cigarettes. 26, 26, 26, 26.
Huh.
Editing magic. How there's a lot of nicotine inside of Juul pods, which is true. But what they don't talk about is why that's not as bad as they claim it to be, as they try to make out in the video. It's kind of a ridiculous video, and I feel like it's more pandering to younger audiences just because that's vaping, and who's using Juuls. I understand they don't want kids to be using Juuls, but like they misconvey what Juul is compared to what a cigarette is, I guess I would say. The dangers that are in a Juul compared to a cigarette. He's basically saying, oh, I vape, so it's safe for the cigarette, which is true, very true. Cigarettes are terrible for you because of carcinogens within the burning of the tobacco and such. Okay, I wrote down points. I'm actually going to go point by point now. I'm too sick to actually think words. Okay. So it is focused towards kids just because of its like hand puppets and shit. And so, they're trying to tell kids, vaping is not as cool as you think it is, blah, 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 which kids shouldn't be vaping. That's why they have an age limit on it, 18. And they talk about the nicotine. And the nicotine is the addictive drug within vaping and tobacco and other products. It's delivered through the lungs, and that's how it gets in the system, lungs. And so a lot of vaping products, including Juuls, have the nicotine warning logo on it, which is required of them just to tell people, hey, this has nicotine in it. Same with cigarettes. But what this ad, it seems like it's trying to do is tell us that, oh, vaping's just as bad as cigarettes. Like, the nicotine is what's bad in the cigarettes, which is not right. The cigarettes have carcinogens that cause cancer, such, whenever you burn it. And to that point, there's a lot of addictive chemicals we put in our body anyway. Doctors prescribe medicine like painkillers and such, which are addictive, but people need it. Soda has caffeine, which is an addictive chemical, and soda products don't have to put the caffeine is an addictive chemical on their bottles and on their like dispensary products and all that. They don't have to warn people that it contains an addictive product, while nicotine has that restriction put on it. Kids aren't really legally able to get a hold of this stuff. In the real world, legally they can't. And so, that's pretty much all they can do. All vaping companies can do is just make sure that legally they are up to snuff with all the labeling and such. Sellers can know what they can and cannot sell legally. Say you want to go to your local gas station and you want to get a Mountain Dew and some Doritos, and you want to slurp on that while you're playing some Call of Duty or some Halo 4. And I do that personally. You don't go up to the Mountain Dew bottle and you look on it and there's no label that says, warning, caffeine is an addictive drug. Buy at your own risk. No, you don't see that because everyone just accepts caffeine into their lifestyle. And so when it comes down to nicotine and you have that warning on the label, it's kind of a double standard because we're already introducing addictive chemicals into our life. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. It's only been kind of demonized because it's associated with tobacco and cigarettes and cancer. While in the Juul or in vapes, it's not really proven that they are cancer causing. It is proven that they're less dangerous than tobacco, and it's not proven that they lead to cancer like tobacco products did. And so it's kind of like demonizing nicotine rather than demonizing the actual stuff that gave people cancer. And which is kind of weird and fucked up because we don't demonize caffeine, even though sugar, which is associated with sodas, as caffeine is associated with sodas, since there's both sugar and caffeine in a soda. Sugar leads to obesity, strokes, heart disease, heart failure, diabetes. I mean, too much sugar leads to all that kind of stuff. And yet we still don't have any warnings on soda that tell us that this is an addictive product that can lead to health issues. It seems like if we're going to regulate nicotine like that, we should regulate other drugs within our system, like caffeine, just because of the similarities and how nicotine is kind of being demonized while caffeine is not. And caffeine is a okay thing to be addicted to. No, nicotine is a disgusting thing to be addicted to. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. And it's kind of sad that we allow stuff like caffeine into our bodies while also pushing people away that put nicotine in their bodies. Because it's not nicotine that harms your health for the most part. It's the tobacco and cigarettes, and that's why vaping is such a good alternative. I don't know anything else to say. I'm sick as fuck. I'm just talking out my ass here. Oh, recently Juul has undergone kind of a intervention, I guess. They wanted to make sure they weren't advertising to kids. And yes, nicotine is an addictive chemical, but if you wanted to say that, then why is this company and why is this company allowed to make advertisements like this, which advertises an addictive chemical to kids through soda? Why is there no regulation on that? I feel like caffeine, if nicotine's going to be as regulated as it is and going to be cracked down on and going to be shunned, we should also look at caffeine and what else we put in our bodies. And we should, start monitoring that. Just because we're getting kids addicted to caffeine while also yelling about kids getting addicted to nicotine, when in reality, those two are pretty similar. I don't want to say exactly the same. I'm not sure exacts on those, but they're pretty similar in addiction cases. And both of them get you addicted pretty quickly. And so really we need to look at how we regulate caffeine along with how we regulate nicotine and kind of find a healthy balance, I want to say, of shunning people for using nicotine and also kind of accepting that that's just what they want to do with their life. Like people want to drink sodas, and even though it's bad for them, they know it's bad for them, they drink sodas because they like caffeine. Well, the same thing with vaping, and vaping isn't even, I don't want to, it's not even as bad as chugging a soda every day, because sodas have so much sugar in them that lead to horrible things. Vaping hasn't proved to lead to any chronic stuff. We haven't seen a whole lot of time after vaping has started. Like, vaping has been around long enough for us to do studies on it, but soda has been around long enough, and we know that it's addicting, and we know that it is bad to your health, and yet we still use it, we still drink it, people still love it, and there's huge companies that profit off of this with little to no regulation on their advertising, specifically towards children. And that's just kind of what I got from this ad, kind of what I analyzed from it. There we go. Out.